So for everything to make sense in this bicep tendonitis video in this article, I want you to do a little test. Get your elbow here and get your other hand like this. I want you to put your thumb here and your other fingers here. And you're going to be, if you like, underneath the bones. You're not going to be above them. It's going to be underneath here. And you'll have your thumb on basically the epicondyle and the medial epicondyle, and the other finger's going to be resting probably on the lateral epicondyle, the outside of it. What I want you to do is grip, and I want you to see what happens when you flex your wrist this way. You're going to feel it on the thumb here. Then when you go back here, you're going to feel it on the outside here. So we're going to do lots of things. We'll be hanging off bars and doing compound moves. We want you to understand that how you use your wrist has a major effect on any elbow tendonitis or any elbow pain you may get. Follow through. So you have this relationship between if your wrist is flexed or extended and the way it affects into your elbow. You start flexing it, you feel it in the middle here, or may have discomfort here. You start extending it, you feel there. So here's the thing, if every time you pull up, you put a little bit of flex on, when you're pulling up, or when you bicep curl, you pick something up and you curl your wrists as well, that's a lot of strain, especially if you drop it out from the extension. If somebody pulls up and pulls up, then drops out, boom at the bottom, that can really hit that muscle. Equally, if you're a racket player, I've never played racket sports, by the way, rubbish at it. But you come here, you take your hand out, and then you go whack, and you let the racket pull you back here, boom, that's a lot of strain on the outside. So the first thing you've got to think about is evening this out. Trying to keep your wrists neutral in a lot of stuff like bicep curls, pull up, racket sports. Also think about this, is if you're at your desk all day long, your hands are this way. So if all of a sudden you're pulling your hands out and you're doing this, if you just try and do this in itself is difficult. So just think about if you're going to be sort of 12 hours a day doing your computer stuff, or even this, you've got to think about what can you start doing to even this out, because if you do this, the chances are this is going to be quite difficult, meaning it's tight. More advice soon. So you've been bicep curling and you now got pain here. Maybe it's because of your wrist, maybe because it's weakness anywhere else. But the reality is probably it's the isolation that the bicep isn't liking. So the big advice tends to be, while keeping your wrist neutral, is begin to build in compound exercises. If you're super strong, you're going to do neutral grip if you can, pull-ups, rows, things like that. You can do light as long as you're trying to avoid this turn here. So trying to use the whole of the bicep rather than just freeze this bit and do this bit here. Really useful. So whatever else you do, you've got to combine this elbow pain, lots of therapy, and a lot of people like wrapping voodoo bands around, a cheap bit of rubber, wrap it around really tight. When you've got that there, you're going to extend, contract, extend, contract, extend, contract, extend, contract. Obviously then you take all this off later on and you're going to stick your thumbs into everything. So each point that hurts you, sort of going to go over it for 10 rubs. You go, ow, 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 10 rubs, things like this. Both sides, depending what the pain is. And obviously you're going to start thinking about, can you pull the skin off the underpinning fascia? So just trying to do a little skin pinch, lift that all off. And then finally, you're going to start doing some stretching. So this can be as basic as this, there, nice and long. Now the big debate, if you look elsewhere on some of my blogs, is how long you're going to hold this for. Early stage, we're going to say 10, 20 seconds. Build up to 2 minutes, because otherwise the body doesn't really recognize it. So you're going to take this and stretch it outright. If you're only there, that's fine. Keep on trying to push. Now the reality is you don't really build any flexibility, but you start opening up the muscle. For the first 30 days, it's all about just getting used to it. So if you're thinking, oh, this really hurts, suck it up. That's all I can say. Suck it up. So, you go for 2, 3 minutes. If you look at some of the contracture literature, that's where, you literally can't open your arm and they've got to medically extend it. They're locking people up in here for 8, 12 minutes at a time to get the cell to understand what goes on. So just do this nice and easy. Now there are lots of other stretches where you put your hands behind your back and you get somebody to like lift them. And there's the German hang. I'll show that on another video, but if you're just suffering from this, you're not going to do anything gymnastic, get that as the basic starting point. Oh, chuck some ice on, there's some heat on. Basically take every therapy, throw the kitchen sink at it, and I feel your pain.